What is going on, everybody? Today we are going to be discussing how to use frequency separation. Obviously, people know frequency separation is to get those beautiful blemishes out of skin tones, smooth and perfect while still maintaining texture. I have an image from my friend Johnny Vision he sent to me. I edited it already because I just loved this image, but we are actually going to go over frequency separation again on it for you. So these are just my settings already for it that I've already done. So now we're going to open it, and once this loads, I'm going to show you guys how to do frequency separations. I like to do my corrections layer first. So my corrections layer is literally just going to be anything I feel needs to be corrected in the image beforehand. So obviously I'm just going to darken this out so that that blends back in there. And then I'm just going to clone stamp this piece away from the hat. We're just going to paint that in just like that. Boom. Gone. Done. Done it. Obviously her necklace I'm just going to leave in there. If we really wanted to, we can clean up this hairline right here. So we're going to just grab our lighten tool. So see, just from that, cleaning up the image, simple things that go a long way. So now what you're going to do, listen closely. This is how you do frequency separation to make sure skin tones stay beautiful. So you're going to grab your corrections layer, duplicate it twice. Both copies can be the exact same. Grab that first copy, name it low frequency. Then you're going to grab the top one, you're going to name high freak. So it's going to be your high frequency separation layer and your low frequency separation layer. Turn your high frequency separation layer off. So we're checking away from there, but making sure we're clicked on low frequency. And what you're going to do is you're going to go filter, blur, Gaussian blur. And what you're going to want to do is zoom out here, find an area where there's going to be a lot of pigmentation or problems with the skin. Typically, you can find it mostly on the cheeks or right along the chin line. I like to use the cheek just because it has a good source of shadows to highlights. So then what you're going to want to do is take this slider radius and just keep moving it up until her skin looks smooth. 15 makes it look really smooth. So we're going to okay that. Now you're going to click on your high frequency separation layer, turn it on, go to image, apply image. Now you have to select the source is obviously your first image. You want the layer to be your low frequency layer. So select low frequency. Change the blending mode to subtract. Now you're going to get this gray image. Make sure your scale is set to 2. Your offset is 128. Opacity is 100%. Click OK. Then what you're going to want to do is change your blending mode here. You want to go to linear light. Now it's going to look like you did absolutely nothing, and that's the point. That is the point right now, is we're trying to set it up so where we can do this. Now you click back to your low frequency separation layer, grab your lasso tool. I already know this skin tone and the pixels on the image, so I'm going to set this to around 25 pixels of feathering. And then what we're going to do is we're going to zoom in, and you can work pieces and parts of the face, not as a whole. You want to work in sections. So you want to do one cheek, the other cheek, the bridge of the nose, the forehead, chin, neck. Each is going to be separate because of what's coming next. So what you're going to do is you're just going to grab basically in a little steak shape. Just like that, nice little T-bone steak. I'm going to take away a little bit more right there. And we're going to filter, blur, Gaussian blur. And you want to blur this until her skin's smooth. Okay, now we're going to deselect that. We're going to go to the other cheekbone. We're going to filter, blur, Gaussian blur this side as well. Obviously we can reduce this so the shadows aren't as harsh right there. So we're going to reduce that to now half. This is why you don't do the whole face in one time. So you see we had 44 over here, but over here I only had 22. Now I'm going to come down here. I'm going to Control D or Command D to deselect that cheekbone. And then I'm going to come across here in the chin. We're going to pull the chin just like so. We're going to go filter, blur, Gaussian blur. We're just going to turn it up right around 31. Looks good. And you can even come down to the neck. Go right in here and select a piece of the neck. And filter, blur, Gaussian blur again. And now here I'm going to just group these layers. And this is what frequency separation does, guys. Ready? Look at her skin tone. See how we smoothed out those blemishes, the pockets in her chin, We evened out those highlights. We made her face look even, beautiful, a nice skin tone. Look at the skin tone. So all this skin tone still stayed in here. Everything's smooth. So you see what frequency separation can do to a portrait. It can take it from a few blemishes that might be a little bit harder to get out of an image, to then blending it to where she has a flawless skin tone and you don't have to worry about it. And you can also use your dodge and burn tool in this layer. So if you go to your low frequency separation layer, and then if you come in here and you brush, you can see it affects. So if I want to add back in this highlight, I'm going to obviously set my stuff a little bit lower. We're going to go to around 20%. I'm going to hold Alt while on my burn tool, and you can see I can add in these highlights again. And you see, just from this now, gave her back some highlight. So if we really wanted to get that highlight back in the cheek, you just add that highlight back into the cheek. And you see how that can change an image. And then you can even use your spot healing brush. So if you go to your spot healing brush, we're gonna select it on lighten. Do not sample all layers. Go to your high frequency layer though. And if you want, you can, I'm obviously just gonna get this just so I can zoom back in. And then see, we're gonna set it to lighten. And you see how we can pull away all these little dark spots that just tend to linger ever so slightly, while still preserving that skin tone and everything else about this image. We can just pull away some minor blemishes that we don't want. So say I didn't really want that freckle deep there in her neck, like so. We can remove that and it still looks just the same with our frequency separation layer. Here's my complete version of Johnny's image. So I took all that frequency separation, as you could see in her face. We smoothed out that skin tone. I made her tattoos pop a bit more because they seem to be a little like faded in the sun. So I really wanted to make sure those tattoos popped. And I gave it kind of a cotton candy vibe with a nice warm aspect to it. And it turned out to be a great portrait. It was great to begin with, but it was definitely an amazing shot. And it was a great practice for frequency separation because I hardly ever shoot portrait photography. So thank you, Johnny. He does tons of portraits that are absolutely gorgeous. All of his work is going to be linked in the bio down below. So if you guys are interested, check him out. Otherwise, I'll put his links up here, down there, around. There's going to be on the screen now as well. So you guys can actually seriously go check out Johnny. He's amazing. Thank you, Johnny, for letting me use your image to edit with. And I do hope this helped you guys learn frequency separation. If you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns about frequency separation, feel free to reach out to me on Twitter at barelyfit or on Instagram at acl.photo, and I'll get back to you guys as quickly as possible, or just comment down below. I'll answer you guys here. I appreciate you guys taking the time to watch this video, and I hope you learned something. Have a great night, and I'll see you next Saturday.